nothing to do with the meeting. It has to do with what you'd like me to talk about in my presentation.
Okay.
Since I don't really know what to say, is there a way I can find out what's been talked about over the last 12 months so I don't replicate things?
I would tell you to go to our YouTube site and take a look at the videos that are up there. Some of them have topics of what we discussed underneath there, and others do not. Feel free to watch any of those videos, and that will give you an apprise of what the topics we've talked. If there is no topic listed, just put it in the comments for that particular YouTube video, and then I'll update it what the topic is that was discussed there. How's that?
That will help, because I don't want to replicate anything.
You know what? Even if you did, it's going to be your own spin on whatever it might be.
Well, yeah, if I can expand on it, fine. But if I'm saying the exact same, it won't help.
Tom, I'll tell you, we all have short-term memory here.
At our age, okay, I understand.
And many of us can't remember what we ate for dinner last week, okay? So pretty much everyone here can't remember what they ate for dinner last week.
This is true.
So, Bill, welcome. Bill McDowell? Hello, Bill. I can't hear you.
He's got his picture, but not the microphone.
Yeah, he may have just logged in and walked away. Okay, well, it's...
By the way, Sanford, speaking of NFTs and real estate, you once said, I said in a previous meeting, that actual physical real estate is sometimes paid for with cryptocurrency, and I had said I didn't think so. I was wrong. They are taking crypto for real estate.
I don't know who does, but there are. I guess you could do it. Okay. You know what? That's a question I could ask my wife. Let me mute myself and I'll ask her that question. Hey, Teresa.
Maybe she'll do a presentation.
Well, May is open for her.
Okay, my wife says from her company's perspective, they're not set up to do that.
No, not everybody is. It's usually really high-end real estate.
Oh, oh yeah, that's right. It's really the mortgage company is the one who has to deal with it, not the agents or anybody else. So there's nothing that they have to deal with it. It would be the mortgage company. I guess
It'd be the financing end of it.
Right. Okay, it's past 7 o'clock. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Westside Suburban Club of the Chicago Computer Society. And we'll have our open forum. Then we'll have a break. No break. No cup, no cake, no cookies, no nothing. I don't like this non-physical. And then we'll go into our presentation tonight by Aldo. Who'd like to open up the floor with the first question of the evening?
I've got an accounting problem.
Okay.
I volunteered with one of the clubs I belong to take over the accounting, and the fellow that's been doing the accounting for years, worked at an accounting firm, and he had one of his clerks that was doing all this on accounting for us and using QuickBooks. Well, we come to find out, we don't want to end up spending thousands of dollars to be able to use QuickBooks. So I got on the internet and started looking up free accounting programs that will import, the files from Quicken, and one of them came up. Let's see what it's called. It's called Countabout, and it's free. And then they also have but that's, I think the real cheap thing is like about $10 a year. And it says that we'll import the files from Quicken. Does anybody know anything about that?
First thing, let me ask you, what is the purpose here? Are you doing payroll or accounts receivable or accounts payable?
It's a club, just a club, our dues and our monthly charges.
That's probably something
Okay.
like CCS is.
We have two accountants in this group here. Maybe they would like to advise you. Terry? Terry, we can't hear you. Terry, Terry, we can't hear you. Terry, who are you talking
Not working.
to? Okay, Bert, would you like to advise?
Well, first of all, you mentioned QuickBooks and you mentioned Quicken. Those are completely different systems.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure. That's I'll have to find out.
Well,
So-
if you look at Quicken, an alternative is Mint. And
Yeah, this program, it says I can import from either Quicken or Mint.
The other thing to consider is, of course, is security. So for $10 a year, doesn't seem like you get any.
yeah, it doesn't. You got to provide your own.
Okay, so what is the difference between QuickBooks and Quicken?
Oh, big difference. You're talking
All right.
professional versus, say, a homeowner doing their own budget and keeping track of their tax records for tax purposes.
Okay, that would be Quicken.
Yeah,
QuickBooks is more professional.
yeah, like for a business.
QuickBooks is not thousands of dollars to buy it. I see it from 250 at Staples to 650 from QuickBooks Office. I don't know. Oh, it's a more enhanced version, but
But it has a yearly fee, doesn't it?
I don't think so.
I think so.
Okay. Well, first of all, it does have new versions every year, but there are many versions of QuickBooks. So there's lightweight ones, and there's business ones, and there's professional CPA ones. So you have to know what you're looking for to begin with. In
Okay.
addition, QuickBooks has now been moving to an online version, whereupon they would be able to, you're basically working in the cloud, and there are fees for doing that. I think your first question is, what needs does this group need? Do they have to write checks? Do they have a bank account? Do they, can you do it on a spreadsheet? How many transactions are there? How many people, how is the money coming in by check, by PayPal, you have a lot of questions that you have to start with.
Well, we've got about 20 people in the group, and we've got two checking accounts. And we have monthly and quarterly and annual dues and charges.
Is this a nonprofit, which is a 501c3, or is it a business?
They lost their 501c many years ago.
So it's a business, so they have to pay taxes.
Well, we're looking into going back to 501c. So.
But they have
It takes
to
a while
taxes.
to get accepted.
I know.
Yeah,
Bert hit on something there about paying taxes, correct?
yeah.
So you got to have good books in order for taxes.
Well, not necessarily. Depends on how much activity is going on. So, for instance, are there any employees? Is anybody a paid employee?
No.
Okay, so that means there's no payroll taxes involved.
No.
Have they been filing their income tax returns for both federal and state?
I don't know. I haven't been involved with that part of it.
Well, I think you have to find out a lot of what's going on, and
Other
not
than
be
membership,
responsible in the middle.
other than membership dues, Wayne, do they earn any other money any other way?
Well, we have things where we try to earn money, and then we distribute this. It's, well, it's really a Rotary. It's Rotary Club.
Rotary has its own rules and organizational requirements. So you have to go back to the Rotary rules to know what choices you have in keeping record.
Okay.
Terry, your mic isn't working, so we can't hear you. So try and get your microphone to work.
So we kind of went through what Wayne might need to know. I almost would say, what would you say, QuickBooks, Bert?
I would say you have to go back to Rotary and see what their requirements are.
Okay.
They're the owner, so to speak.
Okay.
And I'm sure that the group has to send information to Rotary, correct?
Well, yeah, we have to send money in, for the membership.
I'm sure they have events where they have to take in money, pay
Yep.
expenses that are all part of a Rotary Club, and get contributions and
Correct.
keep track of you have to get a response for every contribution. You have to send a letter of acceptance, of thank you. That's IRS records, all required. Like I said, you have to get the Rotary rules.
Is the Rotary a for-profit business? I didn't know that. Are they?
Rotary clubs are we'll call it, for tax purposes, obviously they may have been a nonprofit at one time, but this group lost it because they didn't file their returns. So you basically have to understand what the environment is. They're basically to collect money for charities.
Right.
Put on charity events. But that, but as an organization, to be part of a Rotary organization, you've got to be under their rules and regulations and follow their requirements.
Okay.
Do you think they need to hire a lawyer to do this, or just get an accountant to book?
I think they have to find out what problem, where they're at. Why did the other accountant quit?
He retired and he moved to Florida.
Well, that's better than some other reason.
I understand Bert's available to help you out.
I've done those sort of things, and I'm past that right now. I don't know about Terry.
Well, Wayne, I think you should retire and move to Florida right now too.
Yeah.
Get out of this.
I'm thinking about it.
No. We need Wayne to be right where he's at.
I hope we didn't scare you away from trying to help,
No.
but I think you need to get a lot of facts first.
Plus, are there any other Rotary clubs in the area, Wayne, that maybe you could check with one of them and get some
There's
info?
one
yeah.
in Naperville, I think. Naperville's got big ass.
Got one in Hinsdale. We got a Downers Grove.
There's also, but there's also a regional level of Rotary. So
Right.
your group is under another, just like we're under as part of APCUG.
Yep.
That group is under a Rotary. There may be several levels of management, so to speak, above.
Well, there
In
are.
Rotary.
There's a Rotary. There's an international. Then there's a regional, and then of course the individual groups.
So you have to start by finding out, first of all, do you want this position? After you get the fact of what's going on. And then, dig into it, talk to the last person, find out, whatever they were doing, they had to follow the rules of Rotary.
Okay, now we
Okay.
move on from that one. And Tom, you had your hand up.
Yeah, the question I had was looking at trying to speed up this laptop that I had that I'm working with right now. I've done what could I call it? Enlarging the amount of memory in the machine. It was working with 6 gigabyte of memory. It has now got 16 gigabyte.
Yeah.
It's
So now you want to figure out what else you could do to speed it up?
Yeah.
Is
I know
this
I
a-
could.
What's the age of the machine and who's it by?
Well, it's an HP machine. I don't think I could tell you the age.
Is it Intel or AMD?
I believe AMD.
Okay. So AMDs generally, I believe you can overclock those. Generally. Intel, you generally can't.
Yeah, only certain processors in the Intel line allow overclocking.
Correct. And that's why I said generally Intel you can't. But AMDs you can, means you can bump up the processing speed. Where are you finding the bottleneck?
Honestly, I don't know. It's just it takes it a long time to do anything.
Well, now here's the thing. Okay, you got an AMD processor. There are
You have a
several
spinner?
versions, and there's some out there that are so cheap they're not worth having.
Okay. Do you have an SSD in this computer or a spinning hard drive?
It's a spinning hard drive. I know if I
That
put it
is
at this.
your biggest bottleneck right there.
Yes, that I know.
If you change that out, your machine is going to be like light to you. You're going to increase the speed probably 10 times. I pulled a number out of the air, but
Well, yeah.
No, they
it literally would change. If your boot time is in minutes, this will drop it down to less than a minute, maybe even 30 seconds or something as a boot time.
I have a question about the configuration of it. Which Windows version is it running, and which Windows version did it originally run?
I believe it original version was a Windows 7. Right now it's Windows 10.
That shouldn't make too much difference in
Good.
performance.
That's good. That's good. At least it wasn't going from Vista.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom, put in the chat that it's an HP computer and what the model number is. Model number would be on a label on the bottom of the laptop.
Oh, it's a laptop?
It is a laptop, yes.
Okay.
Okay, it's an HP
No, put it in the chat, please.
in the chat.
In the chat. And then we could look it up, actually look up the configuration of it.
That's right.
And if it's an old laptop, or it's an older laptop, it's slightly old.
It's an older laptop, yeah. It's not
Okay.
ancient, but the reason I use it is because it's got the camera built into it.
Okay. So do you have an idea how big the hard drive is?
Well, let me type this in before I try and tell you that one.
Okay.
If it's a real old one, probably max would be 512.
I think that's what it is, but
512
like a
megabytes.
360 or
Gigs.
320.
yeah, I think it's 512 gigabyte, but
Okay. So you could buy that for about $50 on Newegg.
oh, see, I think I've given you the model right now.
Oh, an NVDV6.
Yes.
DV6. Hang on.
Okay, it's an NV, and it is an AMD-based NV.
Okay.
I believe it, yes.
Okay. Let me get that copied into my notes and then see if I can copy it into Google.
I play with this old stuff all the time. This is my forte.
We have a support article on the NV DV6 7210TX. Is that what it says on the label?
Comes with 4 gigs of RAM.
It came with
A dedicated.
the RAM that it came with was 6 gigs.
6 gigs.
6
Okay.
gig.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
This is part of what I was worried about. He's got an A series AMD CPU, and they are not noted for horsepower. The fastest, most powerful version of an A processor from AMD is about the equivalent of an Intel Core i3 processor in approximately the same generation.
Okay.
So that makes a big difference.
Tom, while we're talking, do you think you could figure out how big the hard drive is?
Sure.
Just click on My Computer and then look for your C drive.
Now, where am I going to find my computer? Am I going to shrink you guys out? And
No, it should be an icon on your desktop. In the upper left, My Computer or something like that.
I mean, for some of the specifications, you can go to the task manager too, under processes.
You can't find it?
no, I don't see it.
All right, you go down to your start bar, and you see the file explorer. Does it look like a folder icon? When you're looking on the start bar,
Yeah.
you've got the Windows icon on the left, you got the search, and then the next one of the few things over there is going to be a file folder. You see that? It's yellow.
I see a yellow one that says libraries on it.
It says libraries. Okay, we'll click on that. Let's see what that does. And that should bring up a File Explorer menu. Does it?
It shows files in it, yes.
Okay. Someone else? Jeez. Fast fingers. Okay, so you have that up. And where are we going to find? I think you have in the top menu, it should say Quick Access. One of them might say Desktop.
Okay, I see desktop, yes.
Okay, if you hit the up arrow, does that take you to one that shows your C drive in the bottom under devices and drives?
Should I be in desktop?
Okay. Do you see to the left of that in the Explorer menu, do you see the up arrow?
Well, I'll have to say no. In desktop, I have an up arrow on the name line. Oh, man.
Someone else want to tell them how to find?
I do see the C drive when I slide down. It's a local disk C drive.
Okay, does it tell you the size?
I'll click on that. God. Let me right click on it. Properties. Okay. And properties. Capacity 565 gigabyte.
Okay. All right. So now we know how big of a drive you need to get. You need to get about a 560.
That means you originally have nominally 640 gig.
Yeah.
And that almost certainly means your processor is an AMD A8.
Okay. So the biggest speed improvement that I could tell you to do would be, Tom, to go and buy a new SSD hard drive. And you'll want to get one equal or larger than the one you have. That will be the easiest thing to do.
Okay, instead of
So-
getting the 600, go and probably get one
You-
terabyte.
You might have to get a terabyte, which is you're going to be wasting a lot of space because I will bet you're probably using only a fraction of that drive. That's the easiest way, but there are techniques available to shrink your drive down to less than 500 so you can get away with cloning to a 500 gig.
Okay, so no reason to get that size drive. You get the
No,
smaller
if
one.
you could probably get I would not go with anything smaller than a 500 gig. I would look for, something like a 512 or something in size. Anyone else want to comment on that?
512 gigabytes in something like that, 500 gigabyte SSD sounds about right.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
So let me go and take a quick look on, I get these new eggs all the time.
Provided
Okay.
your internal connector can handle an SSD, and that would require that it has to be SATA, not PATA.
Right.
Yeah. Good point there. We'd have to look in his specs and see what his takes. Man. Bestsellers, today's deals. Let me see what today's deal at Newegg's on SSDs are. I remember seeing one for like $50. One come across my emails today.
Yeah, and it's very unlikely that his laptop has SATA 3, although it could. It's
could.
probably earlier.
So to circle back to you, Tom, as I'm kind of pushing you in that direction here, okay? The best thing for you to do would be to go and purchase a new SSD, an internal SSD. You may have to crack open this box or the laptop to see what it takes. If you're uncomfortable with doing something like that.
No, I'm not, because I opened it up to put in those the memory size.
Oh,
cards.
okay. So you want to look at where the hard drive is.
Yep.
And if you can, there's going to be like 4 screws that hold it in place. And once you take those 4 screws out, you're going to disconnect it from whatever it's hooked up to.
Right.
If it has little pins, lots of pins on there, we got a problem. But if it has a flat edge connector, and you don't have to pull it off to see this very much. It's just almost like the connector that's on your those little.
I guarantee you, Sanford, it's a SATA drive because it has DDR3 memory, and they didn't make PATA drives in that new of a machine.
Okay, all right. So then you don't have to go that route. We're going to go. I'm going to tell you. If you want, give me your email address in a text message in a chat here. Send me your email. And when I see an ad come across from Newegg for a cheap SSD, I'll send you the link, and you can order it from them.
Or an alternative, you can go to Micro Center and probably pick up one there for $50 or less.
Yep, there you go. You can do the same thing there. I'm thinking ordering one, but you could probably go to Micro Center and do this.
Yeah, I usually get for old
Cheap
equipment, it's called a brand name of Intel, and just pick up a 500 gigabyte 2.5 form factor drive, and the old drive has mounting rails or a cage of some kind. You have to take out 4 additional screws to remove the old drive, stick the new drive in, put all the screws back, put it back in the machine, put those screws back in. That part's done. Now you have to have an adapter like Sabrent, I think its label is.
Yep, that'll work.
And basically, this is what it looks like. It's got a SATA in and a USB, and you would take the old drive, plug it in here, plug this into a port on the USB system, and you should be able to boot up a backup restore drive and transfer all the content of the old drive into the new drive that you got in there. The only thing that you have to do is, before you do anything else other than buy the new drive, put a piece of backup software like Macro Reflect or easy to us to do backup software. They're the two easiest. Create a thumb drive with the restore media and test it out. Make sure you can boot up the computer off of that drive. And as long as you can do that, you're in business.
Okay, well, on my desktop, I've got an external drive that is now empty. So I could take that one, plug it into the USB drive, and copy the hard drive from the laptop onto the external drive.
Yes, you can do that too.
Yep,
Now,
you can do that.
Here's the trick,
But
because of the size of your drive that Sanford was pointing out before.
Yes.
You have a little bit of an odd size drive there. But the question is how much you're using. It would behoove you to shrink it, and the tool already exists in your system. It's under computer management. You can shrink the drive so that you can copy the content and make certain it fits into, say, a 500 or 512 gigabyte SSD. I do this all the time. And
Okay,
usually
so-
I've even done it with bigger drives, shrink them way down to fit in a 240 or even a 120 gigabyte SSD. Works just fine. It depends on how you use the computer.
Yeah.
All right, let me, hold on, gentlemen, give me a moment. I'm going to show him what he needs to see here. All right.
Yep.
So if you go to the Windows start bar on the left-hand side and you right click, you're going to see disk management. When you invoke disk management, you'll see this window that I have up here.
You must do it from the administrator's account.
Yeah. From here, you can physically resize the drive by, let's see, how do we do this? Action.
Right click in the C drive.
Okay, right click in there.
Yeah.
And
shrink volume.
hopefully you guys are seeing the dialog box here. It says shrink volume.
Yep. And just click on that and it will tell you what it can shrink it by.
Right. It'll tell you what you can shrink it down to. And your goal is to shrink the overall size of this thing down to less than 500 gigs. Now you see a dialog box here that's telling me how what the current size is and what I could shrink it down to.
Yes.
Okay. So that, and then you'll invoke the shrink function, and that will shrink the size of your footprint on the hard drive. Are you following me on that one?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that takes a little time to do, to shrink this drive down, but you can do that and that will make you get less than 500 gigs. So then therefore, when you go to clone the drive from your current 640 to the 500, it'll work successfully.
Okay.
And then when you're done here, we're going to shrink this all down, and then we're going to do the cloning process. Tom, what town do you live in?
I live in Burr Ridge.
Burr Ridge. Okay, that's not too far.
Well, 294 and I-55 cross right at the corner of where I'm at.
Okay. Well, you know, if you bribe me, I can come there and help you do this.
What kind of bribe would you like?
Oatmeal cookies.
Well, you wouldn't want those for me. I'd burn them.
Oh, well, I didn't say you did. A nice corner bakery makes good ones, you know.
Well, there is one problem. I don't drive.
Oh, well, you can have them delivered too.
That's an idea.
Listen, I'm just telling you, I work pretty cheap.
Ooh.
When it comes to friends and people of the group, I work for oatmeal cookies. Okay, so
Is that a Friday night special?
yeah, or Amish baked peanut brittle works good too. Really good peanut brittle. No. Anyways, it's just an option for you. If you get all the stuff, I could come over there and help you with doing this. If you
Okay, well, if I need to be straightened out, I will help or have you get over here. I will find a way to do it.
okay, all right.
Let me
All right.
let me finish sending you my email. I started typing it for you.
Okay, when that comes in. That was my opinion, what you could do to speed up your laptop. In all probability, your biggest bottleneck is your hard drive.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue that at all.
It really will be. And when you reboot off of that new SSD, you'll be like, oh my God, this is like I just bought a new machine. You'll never go back to a spinning hard drive again.
I would like to make one additional suggestion, though this may not help very much.
Go ahead.
And that is check and see if there are any updated drivers available or any driver conflicts in your device manager. I think it's rather unlikely in such an old laptop, but there might be some drivers that aren't quite up to date.
Oh, absolutely. If that's the case, anything can happen because they're constantly either improving them or getting rid of bugs that are in them or doing security patching on the drivers. And the drivers are the meat between the physical hardware and all your software from the operating system and your application programs.
Yeah, only on an older computer like this, an older laptop especially, there's going to be a limit to how advanced a driver you could have.
Yes.
There's going to be a limit to what updates will be available.
Yes.
And I'm a great one for saying that I try not to touch drivers at all.
Yeah, well, this may be one case where you might want to.
Yeah, because I guarantee you it could make a difference in the performance of the system. I'm updating my drivers all the time, and I have been for more than a decade.
Okay, well,
Now, yes, you can run into a problem from time to time with a driver, but if you're astute, usually when the drivers get installed, you're creating a restore point, and if you run into an unexpected problem, you restore the restore point to get rid of that problem, get back to the old driver. Then you can say, I'm going to skip that one driver.
Yeah, this is fine for anything except the graphics driver or something that causes you not to be able to boot.
Yeah.
okay.
Generally, it's the graphics and printer drivers that are the worst offenders. Almost everything else seems to work just fine.
Yeah, on occasion the glary utility comes up telling me, oh, you've got a driver you can put in, and right away I stop at that and don't do it.
Well, what Glary Utilities is telling you is there is a more advanced version of the driver available. That doesn't mean that your hardware can take advantage of those features.
Okay.
In
other words, I usually ignore such notices.
Usually what I use is the free version of Driver Booster from IOBit. And now, mind you, they have a paid version. You don't need it. And they have game drivers, it's called, and they'll have a label Pro on them. And just ignore them. Anything else will get a check mark that it finds, and it'll automatically install them. It'll create a restore point. If you run into a problem, it'll undo all the drivers, and then you can update each one at a time until you find the one that is the offender, and skip it.
Okay, you said it was driver booster what?
Driver Booster by IOBit. Go to majorgeeks.com or softpedia.com.
And like I say, probably in an older laptop, there won't be too many surprises with your drivers.
Don't bet
Bert
on
has
it.
to stand
Don't
up.
bet on it.
Bert?
One of the other things, because it's an HP machine, you should probably check on the HP site for support and put in your model number and see what drivers they have to be able to download from there. Look at the dates and see if it's something more current than you might have or seen before.
Well,
They will
sometimes in
also-
a machine that old, the drivers aren't available anymore.
But they'll
Quite
be on
Usually
the
for
website.
HP, they are.
They'll be there.
They will?
They'll be there. The
All right.
drivers will be there as well as any BIOS updates will be there.
Well, I've gone to plenty of sites for machines that, hey, tough luck. They don't have them anymore because it's too old.
Dell's like that, but HP keeps it.
Okay. Well,
All right.
Sanford,
Hopefully we helped you out here, Tom.
I think you did.
Okay.
And in chat, you've got the email ID.
Right. Everybody has your email address. Don't worry. We'll all be spamming you shortly.
Yeah.
Okay. Tony, you look really, really cold there. Don't tell me you got a cold. We can't hear you, Tony.
Microphone.
Tony, you're muted.
I'm going through the valley, coming up on the other side.
Okay.
That's a little chill, and I don't want to put too much of brandy on it, So I want to stay awake.
Too much brandy, huh?
No. If you can put it in your head, when you feel chill,
He's just getting ready for bed.
Easy now, easy. I'm not alone.
I was going to say something about something, but I won't.
All right, good.
Please, gentlemen, be kind.
Okay, we need to keep this rolling. Any new questions, new direction? No. Wow. This was
I'm in the process of putting in some cameras outside because I just feel I should do them. And I purchased the Arlo set of cameras.
Okay, the Wi-Fi enabled ones?
Yes, those are Wi-Fi enabled. And I have a base station, and I'm going to pick up a doorbell with a camera, I think tomorrow on Saturday, and hook it up together. So I'm looking forward to having
how many cameras
some
are you going to put in?
No, but using the Arlo cameras also for the outside. I was trying to determine whether or not I should use the Wise cameras, but upon further review, I realized it would have some conflicts with if I put it inside, with the screen through your window and the glass and all those artifacts would not give me a proper view. So I need to put them outside to get a clean, clear picture. That's what I understand.
So the ones you're getting are outdoor rated?
Outdoor rated, yeah.
And how many are you putting in?
3.
3.
Yeah.
And they're going to be covering all your entrances and exits?
Yes, sir.
And what about windows?
Windows, I don't do Windows, so I do Apple.
No.
Yeah.
Couldn't have it. You walked right into that one, Sanford.
No, I did. I meant, are you going to be covering your window entrances that people could smash?
Somebody will see through me? No, sir, I don't need that. No, I'm okay.
Okay, all right.
For the windows, I could put those sensors, but I don't have that problem.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you'll have to let us know how this works next month.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'll let you know how successful I am.
It would be, you know what, Tony?
Mm-hmm.
Tony, this is great. For September, Tony, why don't you do a presentation on what you've learned from this? And I'm going to write you down right now.
Okay.
September, Tony, what's your last name?
What day is today? The last name is Edwards today.
Edwards.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And are you going to do, you want to do Arlo? Arlo.
Well, that's the one I have now, yeah. And that's a change between now and next week, but Arlo, yeah.
Arlo camera system.
Mhm.
Okay. There you go. You are now down for September presentation on that. So
Okay.
if you want, don't tell us how this goes.
Mhm.
You wait until September,
Okay.
and then you could give us the woes, you know, your research on it, what you found, all of it.
Sounds good. The whole kit and
Well,
caboodle.
you know, and even your opinion. And then we'd also like you to, we'll share your desktop, and you can pull up your video feeds and show us what it looks like.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Okay?
Yes. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
great. We got September down. I like this.
Oh. I walked into that one, didn't I?
No, you didn't walk into it. Well, you did. Just like I walked into the Windows thing.
Oh.
Yeah, it can get painful walking into Windows.
Yeah, you know, Tony, you got me back.
Yeah, it could be a pain, Windows.
Yeah. Well, don't look at me. I do Linux.
As I'm reminding this group, we are users helping users, and our presenters are ourselves.
Right.
We all know something, a little bit about something, and that's the idea is we share it with the rest of us. That keeps this club going. So,
And if you don't know, you can find out.
that's right. You've got the world at your fingertips with good old Uncle Google. All right, next question, new direction. None?
Can I back us off for a second?
Go ahead.
Okay, maybe I have a suggestion for what I'm doing next month. I'll be putting in an SSD. Should I talk about that?
You can, there you go, Tom. If you want that to be your discussion, his hard, I'm sorry, this is going to be your laptop. We're going to put this down, laptop.
Yeah, I'll put it into the laptop.
Grades.
Yes, and I have
And
noticed
experiences.
experiences, yes, and I've noticed while we were talking, I was listening to what you were saying there, Tony, but I was also looking to see how much space I'm using on the current hard drive. Only 45 gigabyte.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You can get a 120 gigabyte unless you're going to start doing a hell of a lot of music or a lot of photos or videos.
You could, I'll give you a word of caution to what Tim just said. The problem you're going to run into is you probably won't be able to shrink your drive down to that size effectively. You may be able to, but when you go through that shrinking process, that will yield how big of a hard drive you need. That will tell you the answer.
What you do there, you can't use the internal tool that we showed them. You have to use a partitioner program, and I use quite a few different ones, as even Bob can tell you, and he knows how to use several himself. Those I use all the time because a lot of my systems, they don't do a lot. They don't have a big footprint. So I squeeze it down to a 120. It's the cheapest drive I can get my hands on, and stick that in, and I just do a backup of that shrunken version, restore that backup to the 120 gigabyte SSD.
Oh, that'll work.
Done.
That'll work. That's a pretty good way. Instead of cloning it, just do a backup and a restore.
That's right.
Okay. And boy, you can get those 120 gig SSDs for $25.
Or less sometimes.
Yeah.
Depends on your shopping.
It depends on your shopping. So, you know, you want to get it doesn't matter on the brand wise for you because it's not a critical machine.
Right. And especially since of the age and limitation of the processor. Like I said, something like Micro Center, the Intel brand, I don't know if they still handle the 120s. You might have to settle for a 240 if you can get that.
Yep. Or that'll work too. A 240 will work beautifully.
Yeah. in either case, they're all overkill for what you're actually using right now.
Yes, they are, but I would probably get the larger of those two. I wouldn't have to get the 500.
It doesn't
but
matter. It really doesn't matter. If you want to
Yeah.
even go with a 512, that's perfectly fine. There's no issue.
Yeah.
There's none. You're going to have tons of storage that you're not going to use, but it doesn't matter. The speed will be tremendous. Tremendous.
Yeah, I'd have the speed there for sure, but I just don't want to lose the space, and somehow I want to be using it and have it not there anymore.
Correct. So like a 240 would be perfect.
Yeah.
240, 250, 256 are the sizes. Inland brand comes in either usually 240. I don't know why the odd size, but in the bigger drive, they had a 480, and they also have a 512. So you can go any way you want to. And the specifications are good enough for that old of a machine with that low-end processor, because that's probably the equivalent of a Pentium processor.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well. Yeah, I could understand the lower size lower size SSD, because I'm obviously not using that size space.
The only thing you'd have to do there is, and we could probably even do this over a Zoom conference between you and me, install a partition tool, and I'd walk you through shrinking it down. And once it's shrunk down, it'll still keep working until you back it up and are ready to swap out the old drive for the new one, and then restore the backup. But you got to have a backup drive if you don't have one.
Well, I could use that the external drive that's just sitting here doing nothing.
Yeah, that's fine. Now, do you have the case for it? Or not?
Probably have to buy it.
For that external drive, do you have?
Yeah, the external drive is completely
raw.
Covered. It's completely dry. It's a USB plug-in.
Oh, okay.
He's got one.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
that's fine.
And it's a 300 gigabyte drive.
Okay, that'll work perfectly fine. You just have to get 2 pieces of software installed. Learn how to shrink down everything that's on the existing drive, and then how to do a backup verified. And then when you physically swap them, you then do a restore with the recovery boot flash drive that you have to create from that backup software, and restore that image to the new drive. And when it's all done, you just reboot the computer with the flash drive and the backup drive disconnected, and it should come up.
Okay, so I'll need to have a flash drive to use also.
Yeah, but I mean, you're talking for the backup recovery. As an example, I use Macro Reflect. It's 400 megabytes. Not even a gigabyte.
Yeah.
And
so
a
another
USB 2 drive would work. So if you had a 1 gigabyte USB 2 drive, you can dedicate that whole thing to be a recovery drive for your backups.
Well, I don't have anything that small with a USB flash drive.
Well, if you end up the best way to get the price from Micro Center is to go in store, and they had a sale recently for old USB drives. You find the smallest damn thing you can find, along with the SSD, and walk out. After you pay for it.
You have to pay for it.
They have those usually right by the register too, don't they?
Pardon?
Don't they have those by the register?
Yes, but not that small. Not that small.
Yeah.
The smallest they probably have is 16. They don't even carry 8s, 4s, or anything smaller. They have a rack full of old other SD cards and USB flash drives. Sometimes you get a package that has multiple drives. Bottom line is the flash drive, you're going to have nothing on it, because when you put the ISO image onto it, it's going to take control of that SSD to make it bootable. So that when you stick it in and you bring up your system, the only thing you may have to do is make one change in your BIOS, or hit the boot menu screen and select the USB drive. It's optional on which one you do. So what you have to know is what F key is brings up the boot menu when you first turn the machine on, or how to get in the BIOS and you change this boot sequence of your drives. Usually the hard drive is first, then your CD drive is second, and USB is third. You would reverse the order. It's really not hard. It sounds worse than it is.
So essentially, Tom, you'll be working with Tim. He's going to walk you through this whole thing. I don't think he's going to come to your house because he lives close to the Indiana border.
It's too far. Yes.
Well, if it wasn't for the gas prices, I might be persuaded to do so. But with gas what it is, Jesus. I mean, if he sends a chauffeur driven limousine to pick me up and take me back home, that's fine.
That's pretty nice of you, Tom. Are you going to do that?
Are you kidding? I'll figure it out myself.
Seriously, most of this is a piece of cake. It's intimidating the first time you do it. But once you do it and see that it's not as bad as it sounds, it becomes a piece of cake after that.
Okay. All right, we need to move on from this subject. I need to know, is there any other last questions that people have for the group?
I might want to share something I learned about Zoom yesterday.
Yes, Wayne.
I had a Zoom meeting yesterday morning, and so I started to try to use my Windows laptop, and I couldn't get it going right away, so I quickly grabbed my Apple iPad, got on right away. And in the meantime, while we were going, I finally got my Windows laptop coming up, so I went to sign in on the Zoom, and it come up and it said, well, you're right now, you're on your iPad, and it had a little thing down there that said switch. So I just clicked on the switch, and boom, it switched my Zoom meeting from my iPad over to my laptop.
Wow.
Now, I haven't tried going the other way, so
I don't know.
I don't know whether to go the other way or not.
It might. It's just a
Ken's
case
got
where
two machines. Ken's got two machines running. Maybe Ken can tell us.
They won't let me run on two machines. It'll only let me run on one machine.
The account is for you because you signed on as you.
Right.
If I want to have two people or more on, each one has to log in separately, just like you're doing now in a manner of speaking. It's just a case where if you wanted to log in twice from your home, you have to have two free accounts.
Yeah.
When I've logged in without signing in to an account, just through the browser, I have been able to be on a Chromebook, which happened to be running Linux, and on my desktop computer.
Right.
If you're joining a meeting like this,
Tim, let me ask Ken. I was asking.
Yeah, it was for a meeting.
Ken, can you tell me? Can you do this?
Yeah, so I'm on my phone and I'm also on my laptop. I switched to my phone because my laptop froze, and then I switched over to my phone, and then my laptop came back.
Okay. But can you?
I just clicked on the link from the email.
Yeah, and that's the difference. If you're
Okay.
doing a link to an existing meeting to join it, you can have as many devices as you want. But when you are trying to create the Zoom, you're using your account, unless you're like CCS, and you use CCS's account and your account. Now you can have the two talk to each other.
This is weird. Okay. Any other last? Thank you, Wayne. Any other last questions or comments? And now I need to ask: did anybody buy anything new?
Who can afford it?
Okay. Well, you know, we're all spending it somewhere. All right. If not, I will then say our presentation is by Aldo. And Aldo, you are going to talk about Cobian Backup program.
Yes,
Did I say that right? And
I hope so. It's Cobian.
Cobian. Maybe this software might do what Tom is looking to do too. Instead of Macrium reflect, can he image his partition across and restore? You think?
Okay, I use Macrium Reflect for the system backup, and then and Cobian for files and folders backup.
Okay. All right.
Nice and simple.
Aldo, I didn't mean to throw you a loop over there, but would you like to do your presentation?
Sure. Okay, if there's any problems, just let me know, volume-wise or seeing the screen. Okay, at one point or another, years back, I had a lot of files, folders, and there were some with the data you definitely did not want to lose. So I just started to search for backup programs. So a whole bunch of them, quite a few. And when I hit Cobian, it sort of, fitted just right. So I decided, okay, then I'll stick with Cobian. Throughout the years, they always had an update and upgrade. And then until 2012, 10 years ago, they stopped. So there are no more updates, but it's still good. And doing a research on backups, the free backups, I was pleasantly surprised that Cobian was usually up there. So it's still very popular, which means it's working and doing what it's supposed to do. The presentation, probably 10, 15 minutes at the most, divided into two parts. First part, I'll be reading a review done in a place called Tech Radar. And then just go through step by step. And if you open it up, the process, the steps of setting the tasks up. And then, questions and answers, whatever. Okay, so I probably will be sharing my screen whenever we're ready, right?
You can share it. You're a co-host.
Okay, share screen. All right, go with this one. All right. So this one, the review was picked up by Tech Radar, the website.
We're not seeing your screen. You didn't share.
You're not seeing a thing. Okay.
When you choose share screen.
I see.
When you select desktop view, you gotta select the share button down in the bottom right corner.
Say that again. Okay, I see the share screen, right?
Click on that.
Got it, and that's what I got.
And it's going to bring a pop-up window that's going to show your various windows you have open. Now you have to select which one you want us to see.
There we go.
Okay.
Now we got a blank. There we go. Perfect.
Got it. Okay. So this is the Cobian Backup type backup software, developer by Louis Cobian, version 11, operating system Windows. Quick note, it goes back to 2012, 10 years ago, and there has been no update ever since. They have a replacement called Cobian Reflector, and that's in a beta stage. Okay, so this review sort of summarizes the program pretty decently by Sophia Wilson. So I'm going to read it. Recognizing that most people will have varying types of data that they want to back up in different ways with varying frequencies. The program allows for the creation of multiple backup jobs. Each of these can have different settings, such as different files, different backup locations, different encryption and security settings, and each can be automatically run on its own schedule. With support for FTP and network backups, Cobian Backup is suitable and free for both home and business use, and the ability to back up to more than one location at a time is a nice inclusion. It's possible to run backup jobs as a different user, meaning you can back up files that require administrator access even from a limited account, and there's a remote control option, so you can manage your backups when you're away from your computer. With so many options to configure up for backup jobs, it's good to see that there's a dummy setting that enables you to give backups a test run to ensure that they work as you're expecting. A nice touch for when things start to get complicated, such as if you're apt to run extra tasks before or after a backup job. The user experience, Cobian Backup may not look particularly appealing, but most things are relatively straightforward. You're virtually guided through the process of selecting the source to backup and the type of backup it should be, full, differential, or incremental. You can then specify the schedule on which it should run, or use triggers such as system startup and choose the priority at which jobs should run. Compression and encryptions are available and easily applied. My note, as I said, the last update was back in 2012 and replaced by Cobian Reflector, which is in the beta stage. Okay. So how do I make this thing close it? Oh. How do I get out of here?
You up at the top, you'll have a
Oh,
stop
I'm
share.
stuck. I want to get to the okay, it has like a slide presentation.
Okay, but
So I don't see any.
that's probably on a different
bummer.
desktop view.
Go back to share. Share screen.
I don't see. I'm out of there.
No, you're still in Zoom.
At the top edge of the Zoom page is a stop share.
Got it. Okay. Now we got to do the share screen for the little. Here we go. All right.
Perfect.
Marvelous. Okay. This I got to get rid of. All right. So when you open it up, this is what you're presented with.
Okay.
So
we can't see that.
Cobian Backup. The name is Gravity, and then those little icons. And as you see on the left,
we aren't seeing these images.
Yeah, we can't see the images. That's because you're on different screens. You would need to open up all those screenshots one at a time in a separate tab in the browser. Select that browser and share it. Yeah.
It's okay. It's I'm using a Screen Explorer.
Okay, just pull up Screen Explorer because we're only seeing your hard drive, if you will.
Okay, what do you see now?
We're seeing your File Explorer, not Screen Explorer.
Right.
Where it says Documents, Downloads, Music, Pictures, C drive.
Do you see by any chance all these little screens?
Yes.
Okay, if I click on one, do you guys see the result?
No.
No, we won't, because that's a different application window.
You need to stop share and go to that application window.
So I'm gonna go stop the shares.
Stop the share. Then restart the share. This is the easy way, I guess. Stop share is at the top in the green.
No, I don't see it. It's hiding. The whole thing is hiding.
You're moving your mouse and you see you are viewing. It says you should see screens. You're sharing your screen.
Okay. Stop share, or you are screen sharing. Okay, I see the green and the red on top.
Okay, stop share.
Got it.
All right, now go to share screen again and pull up the thumbnail or the exploded screen that you want us to see.
Okay, this is what I want to bring up, right? Okay, do you see that?
Nope, I'll explore again.
All right, bummer. Gee whiz, I think I just, okay. Okay, stop share.
But if you alt tab, do you still see that PNG file, whatever you want us to see, open?
Yeah, okay, so we have to go back. Oh, wait. Does that help? Oh, do you see that?
Yes.
Oh, great, okay. Gotta get rid of you guys. All right, so when you start the program, this is what you're looking at, basically 2 columns and the top, few icons, and then I got 2 tasks set up. One is for photos and one is for my data. Photos is 145 gigabytes and my data is 8990. All right, so the next screen would be on the list. So the list, new list, open a list, save a list, refresh, import you from an older version of Cobian. Queue manager and list style, I got it in details, popular. Then under task, run all of them, if you create a group, run the group. And if you want to force full, means, hey, give me a full backup of everything or the group. You can create your new task, shut down when you're done, and a bunch of other ones that are grayed out. On history, it gives you a history of all the logs of what you did, delete backups, backup properties, different options. Going into log, it creates nice logs that you can see step by step what happened. So you got a selection, you can pick the log, all of them, you can print them, open the files, delete, various options. Under tools, you can check for updates, but you're only going to get the last one. And then it's got a whole bunch of other options: decryptor, decompressor, deleter. The deleter was interesting. Cobian has a file path up to 35,000 characters. But it says, you know what? Windows Explorer can only do 255 characters. So one way or another, it makes a special adjustment. Then encoder, reset permissions, reset positions. The translator says, hey, if you can translate this into a different language, let us know. And that's basically what it is. You tell them you have a language that is not available that you would like to offer. Vital folders, remote manager, and then options. There's tons of options, which we'll make it back later. The HAP. They have nice little tutorials, a lot of written stuff, which each screen explains, each little item that you would need to know, hey, what does this mean? So it's got nice explanations. And then you can go to the website, see what they also have to offer. And then going to one of my tasks. So as I said, okay, let's see what photo task. And what happens is you get the property. It says, okay, this is the name you got, where the source, the destination, how big it is, the size, bunch of other things. And then we go over to the task itself. So it says, okay, what do you want to do with this task? General, it's the name, and then it says, okay, this is what you can enable, include, etc. And the bottom is also the important thing to keep in mind. First time I run something, I will always run it in full, get the full backup. After that, I decided, once a day, I want a differential backup. You got the choice of incremental or differential, whichever you like best. Regarding the files, it says, okay, which files do you want to save, the source, and then where do you want to put them to? And I have an external hard drive. So it'll be under external hard drive number H. And you can add, subtract, delete. Under schedule, you can do it manually, or you say, okay, let me do it once a week, twice a week, whatever it is, every day. And then the date, the time, you can set that up, nice and convenient. Dynamics, additional properties. Okay, it says how many full backups you want to keep. Also depends, what you like. And if you have a big external hard drive, fine, keep 2, 3 full backups. Then differentials, how many copies you want to keep. And for me, 1 of each is, I'm happy with that. So that's what I chose. Going to archives, compression type, you have no compression, which is my favorite because and then you have the option of either zip or 7-zip, 2 very popular programs. And then the nice part here is you can encrypt password, passphrase, the files and folders. So you set that up. Depends on, if you want how private you want to keep it. Then you got filters. You can include files only, or on the bottom, exclude. So I had to exclude a few things. Events. This I found out is for programmers. They're into this backup events and post backup events, and I'm not a programmer. So I said, okay, good to know. And then the last one is advanced. Absolute paths, clear archive attributes, include backup type in the name, etc., etc. Impersonation, run as another person. Okay. And then after the task is completed, while it's really backing up, you get details, exactly what it's doing, what it's not doing, and if there's a problem, it's in red, says, hey, there are 2 errors. Look it up today. This is what I want to exclude, but for one, okay, I don't need these programs. The rest is fine. And basically that's it. Short, simple, and everything goes step by step. Okay, now stop sharing. Okay. And I think everybody, the other thing is I know just about everybody should be having backup programs. And the free ones are nice, and also the paid version. Out of curiosities, all of you probably do have backup programs, right? Yes. And then which ones do you prefer? Would be that way we can have an idea of what's popular or what is being used. And then I found out what you guys suggest is usually the best stuff out there. If someone asked me, hey, what's good? I said, hey, in the club, these are their suggestions. And so the other guys take that to heart.
Well, I think I'm going to start by saying that I do something really, really simple with my files and folders. I only have a few folders where stuff changes frequently in Windows. And I just take those and I copy them wholesale onto an external hard drive. I have a 4 terabyte hard drive, so plenty of room. And part of that is used for that. Part of it is used to make the system backup. System image, I do with Macrim Reflect because it's so quick, so easy. And even though things can go wrong, I know exactly what kinds of things would go wrong. And I'm used to using the rescue environment, the bootable media.
Okay,
Tom,
good.
what do you
Thank you.
use? Tom O'Connor, what do you use for backup?
I have internal drives that I copy to.
Okay. Tony, what do you use for backup? He's cold. He's sleeping. Carl, what do you use for backup?
External hard drive.
But
I
what
use
program?
Microsoft's image.
Windows 7 image?
Yes.
You're okay. All right. And Dennis, how about you?
About the only things I ever want to back up are Excel spreadsheets, WordPad documents, Word documents, and I just copy those to external hard drive, the files, or to USB sticks.
Okay. Bert, what about you?
Same as Dennis.
Wayne?
I'm using the Windows backup that's, in Windows 10.
Okay. And Tim, would you like to elaborate on the many facets of what you're doing?
I've got lots of external backup drives, or the laptop size ones. I got 1 or 2 500 gig. I got a bunch of 1 terabyte ones, and I got a couple 2 terabyte drives. I just use them on multiple machines. All I do is I create a folder, and per machine, and then I use Macro and Reflect either installed on the individual computer or through a restore flash drive, and I back up with verification to the folder on one of those drives. And that way I have, a lot of history of old drives, and eventually I get around to the point where I'll start recycling some of the older stuff that I haven't touched in a long time. But with so many different machines, there are some machines I don't back up at all because they're there for practice, education purposes, stuff like that. There's nothing to lose, not really.
Okay.
But one thing that a lot of people don't take into account, they back up their data, but then when their system goes south, they have to figure out how to reinstall the operating system. That takes a long time. Configure it, then install all their application software again and configure them, and then restore their copies of their data files just to get back to square one.
Okay, Leota? Tom Soltis? Harry Nelson? Ken? I know Ken's there. Okay, we got a lot of no answers from these, and I guess I'm the kind of the last oddball, the sheep, black sheep of the family, if you will. Always have been. I have a mishmash of setups here. Primarily, I started with Windows Home Server that handles the backups automatically, so I never have to worry about it. That's only for those machines that are attached to that server and that the software runs successfully on. Because it's old and dated, it doesn't run on my new Windows 10 laptop, the one I'm using right here, which I've never been able to figure out yet. So on that one, I've been using Macro and Reflect for that process, as well as I've been also using the Windows 7 backup that's built into Windows 10. So I have dual backups going on that. And it kind of works. Luckily, I haven't had to do a restore on that. The other thing that I do is once everything is backed up like to my server, then the server itself is backed up using sync toys to external drives. And there I plug in an external drive or run sync toys, and I back up the individual folders that has all the data on it, because most of my data resides on my server. So when I get, my workflow is when I get new stuff in, I process it and it goes to the server, and then everything gets backed up there. So mishmash, a lot of mishmash going on. I will say,
what kind of server are you running?
That is Windows Home Server 2011, which is, it's old, it's outdated. However, it is dynamite. It's fantastic. I still love it. That's why I can't get rid of it. It runs beautifully, and unluckily Windows is no longer supporting it. But I got 28 terabytes of storage on there.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of stuff, and I archive a lot of stuff on there, and it handles it beautifully.
Yeah, I've got a Windows 7 machine I've been using for a long time, and for video editing. So I've got an array on there, 23 terabytes usable. I back up to 14 terabyte drives, all on. I use Nova Backup, and then I have drive duplicators. So every once in a while, I'll pop the drives out. I have trayless drives, so I just pop them out and I duplicate the boot drive and my backup drive and then cycle them through.
I like this in a man with a lot of storage. You're after my heart.
Yeah.
You say 14 terabytes. We're talking, man. We're talking. Yay.
Yeah. That's my backup drive. My array's, like I said, 23 usable, so it compresses on the backup, but it's a Windows 7 machine. I've had it I built it in 2010. It's still going strong, and I've mainly keep it on 24/7 for that long. But the Nova Store is going to stop supporting Windows 7, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to upgrade that machine to Windows 10. Probably not 11. So
you can go to 10 on that 7 machine. That's not a problem. You could do that today if you really felt like it. And most of the stuff will still function on there. It's if it was a new install, like this particular laptop that I'm using here was a newly purchased Windows 10, and I cannot get it to back up with my server. But it's something I've been struggling with. Don't know why.
Yeah, I was thinking about switching to an external NAS or something too, but everything seems to be faster using direct attached storage. So
yes, but speed is not always what we need when we're doing just to have a NAS or something like that.
Yeah, right.
Now, if you're sending a lot of video files, your video files are going to be sizable no matter what. Yep. And they take a while to transfer across your network wirelessly, particular Wi-Fi. But they'll get done. It'll be usable.
Yeah. So we'll see. I may build another machine. I've had good luck with building my machines, so I build them to last.
Okay. Well, yeah. Anyone else want to comment on this? Yes, Bert.
Well, of course, from a business point of view, we always talk about having 3 or 5 backups. And having, external backups means they're not connected, so you're a little safer than having stuff that's always connected. It seems like, we're always worried about ransomware or anything like that. So, if it's connected and you have ransomware, sometimes you don't know it happened for a few days in businesses. And so it's always better to have 3 to 5 backups on different devices for each drive whenever you can.
If possible,
takes time.
Site too.
Well, for whatever, depends on what you have going. But,
right.
As things get into the cloud, you're not really backing up OneDrive or Google Drive. It's keeping that data for you. But then there's a question of what happens when you can't connect.
The other thing to think about is if you're backing up to USB external drives, have them connected only when you are actually using them. As soon as you're done using them, disconnect them, because if you do get infected, they could be, especially with ransomware, all encrypted. Anything that's a storage device attached at the time you're attacked with ransomware will probably end up encrypted. And it only takes a short time per 100,000 files on a computer to be all encrypted, and you can't access them.
Ken?
Yep. And with this pandemic stuff, what I discovered with offsite storage is you might not be able to get to your offsite disk. So then I bought another drive just to keep as a duplicate of the offsite drive. and then I just keep it in a fireproof cabinet. And
that's a good thing. Now, Ken hit a point there about an offset drive, and offsite storage can also be one of your children's houses, that is, or a family friend or a neighbor that you trust. And you could create this external backup drive and give it to them, let them hold on to it, and then once every X number of months, you bring it back home, you update it, and then you send it back out and let them hold on to it. So if you have kids or siblings that you trust, you could do it that way. And what that helps you with an off-site storage backup is in the event of a major disaster, as in like your house got hit by a tornado, you'll be able to recover your stuff because they have it.
Yeah.
And the chances of both houses getting hit are slim unless they're right next door to each other.
But yeah, trying to put terabytes of stuff up on cloud storage is extremely expensive.
Yes, extremely expensive. And here's the problem we're all going to run into with any of these offsite storage cloud solutions is the fact that we're running into data caps. And as I had a conversation with Xfinity when they told me they were putting a data cap on my thing, and I said, I don't like it. And they go, why? And I told them, I said, well, because you're going to prevent me from downloading, in the event of a disaster or whatever, you're going to prevent me from downloading my updates. And he goes, well, how much do you have? I told him I had 28 terabytes. And if you got a 1.2 terabyte limit per month, you can't get it. They're not going to let you get it. So what good is it? And once I explained it to that guy, the guy was like, oh, you're the first person that ever spoke it like that.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, Aldo, would you like to continue?
I'm done.
You're done.
I'm off it now. I'm done.
I think
got free time. Okay, just one thing. I forget which meeting, last meeting or something, where my mouse was freezing or jerking around. Everything would freeze for about a minute or so, and then some of you guys suggested a whole bunch of stuff. Tried some of them, and I think I found the culprit, and it was my antivirus. What it was doing was updating about 3-4 times a day, and so I've tracked it down. So I did it, stopped it, and problem is solved. But
Okay.
thanks for all your suggestions and a lot of good things that I learned.
Sounds like it was interrupting the speed of your machine.
Yeah.
Speeding, it was freezing up for at least 60 seconds to 2 minutes. It was a painful stuff. But all done.
I did have a problem. Okay. Anyways, let's continue on this subject here. I want to go on down this other road. Anyone else want to comment? Bert, yes.
Has anybody used file history that's built into Windows?
Yeah, that's what I'm using.
As opposed to the Windows 7 full backup.
Yeah.
So how does file history work for you? Is it just backing up all? I guess you tell it how often you want it.
What? Yeah.
And then put it on on your internal system, or do you have to have an external drive to do it?
I have an external, 4 or 5 terabyte, USB drive.
But if it's not connected,
Yeah, I don't have it connected all the time.
So does it catch up?
Yeah, I'll catch up, and you can see when the last time it was backed up. You can go in and manually tell it, I want it to back it up right now.
I understand that. Have you ever had to recover anything?
No. So I couldn't tell you whether it really works, but I've never had that problem.
Okay, so it's not in Windows 7 full backup that does the clones the whole system.
No. This just backs up basically all your files.
for certain folders you or
Well, I told
Right.
it all the folders that I've got in there, basically.
all right. So
But it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't back up any of the software.
Okay. I have a situation where somebody uses BitLocker, which is encryption, and the files history system doesn't seem to back anything up.
Well, I'm sure BitLocker is locking them out.
Well, even when you put you turn BitLocker on, it doesn't seem to be working.
Yeah, it's locking it out.
And so I was wondering if anybody else had that example situation.
On my Netgear modem Wi-Fi that I've got here back in December, I've got some sort of security thing with that, and the problem I have is all of a sudden it'll won't allow you to go out to some of the places. My wife's tried to go out to somewhere out on the internet, and it locks them out.
Well, just, every situation is different, especially with Wi-Fi and the internet. But I did see at the APCG program on backup that somebody said that 2:00 in the morning, Microsoft pulls your computer and does some updates. And if you're running your backup at the same time, maybe that could interfere.
Yeah.
So if you use BitLocker and then you run file history as a backup or backup program, if you will, of your files, those files that you're backing up are no longer encrypted when they're copied over to that external drive. So you lose the encryption.
What you're trying to do is be able to get a file back when you.
I totally get it. I understand. I guess I'm pointing out this is a hole, a security hole if you did it locally and if this was like a business environment or you have important things that you running BitLocker for, and you were concerned about somebody else having access to that data, and then you put it on a file history hard drive, it's no longer encrypted and secure.
Be careful. BitLocker, I don't have heavy knowledge on. I've had it on a few computers. I took it off. I didn't need it. But I do know that BitLocker can do internal drive, the external drives, both. So theoretically, you could do the backups to an external that is part of the BitLocker scenario. All have to be unlocked. You do the backup and then relock everything, and it should all be secure.
Well, in file history, you're trying to do it as you go along, so to speak.
Yes.
So you can't really turn it off if you have to have it on.
Well, in a matter of speaking, you're correct, but at the same time, too, I haven't run into anybody that's been able to do a restore if they needed to. I only have seen one person that did it. They used a 1 terabyte flash drive to do the backup on. And I didn't find much of anything out there that was a real value to that individual. So I got them doing regular backups. In a matter of speaking, using file history, it would be like what Aldo was describing as a differential backup, where it's a summation of the most recent versions of the files that it's backing up. And it's not a total history of what's changed over a given period of time, which is more like incremental backup, but you have umpteen incremental backups, perhaps one per day, that you would have. And when you have a serious problem where you have to restore the system from like a systems backup or a complete clean install, and then restore your backups, you have to restore incrementals in the oldest to the newest sequence. And there's no exception to that. Otherwise, you end up with a mess.
The another choice is in newer versions of Office, you can have it automatically put things up in OneDrive as you do it every few minutes. It does it without having to do a backup. So basically, it's saving your files as you go along
Yes.
into OneDrive without
Yes.
you having to do any extra.
Right. Usually there you set up a designated file folder, and as you change files, you put a copy into that folder, and it'll get backed up to OneDrive.
Well, it's really saving it as you're working on it.
That
you
can
can
be
set
done
that
too, but a lot of people don't want to save it on the OneDrive first, and then later on, for whatever reason, do a download to their machine because they need a physical copy of it.
The what I have found is that people who save things into OneDrive automatically can't find them again very easily.
That's because they're not setting it up in an organized fashion.
Well, some folders and files in OneDrive, you can, in order to get them back down, you have to effectively duplicate them in your C drive behind the scenes, and that brings it back down. In other words, it gets downloaded first.
Right.
And if you do that, sometimes you can use up a huge amount of hard drive space.
Correct.
Without realizing it.
Correct. But sometimes what they're doing is they're creating the document. It's in the cloud right off the bat. And then later on, individual cases, they need a copy on their local machine of a document or two. They download a copy. They use it for whatever purpose. And then they can blow that copy away. It's still up on the OneDrive.
I did find that in OneDrive, they have a file size limit of 2 gigabytes.
Yeah.
So if you go over that, you can't download it.
Right. There is a size limitation that was put in. I don't remember exactly when, and it has to do with similar constraints that you have for attachments to email.
And it can also be slow to download a file if it's big. Have we caused enough trouble, Sanford?
Oh, no, we didn't cause any trouble here. None whatsoever. So
Okay.
Let's see. Let me get back to this. And I will give a quick illustration here of share screen. And where am I? Whiteboard. There we go. So this is my antiquated Windows Home Server 2011, and you could see here, I'm assuming everyone can see this.
Yes.
This is from my dashboard, so I'm actually like I'm sitting at the machine itself. And I have different machines here that are backed up to it. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 machines. I'll say 6 because the SK laptop I can't get it back. So 6 machines are backed up whenever they're on or daily. The system can turn on a computer and back it up. For instance, this machine here, you could see, I think you could see this dialog box that says properties and all my backups. Anyone see this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you could see the successful backups and when they were done, and they're automatically set up. So they just run. It runs every day or whatever days I turn on the machine, and they're incremental backups. But all I'd have to do if I need to do a restore, need to put in on the USB stick and it would go to the server, and it asked me if I wanted to do a complete restore, from what date, and it'll let me choose the date, and away it goes. So that's really nice. You can see all these backups here that are contained in there from, 2020. I have backups from. So you can set your properties. Let me go to customize backups. And I'm sorry, you could set it up to how many backups you wanted to keep. You can set it to how many per week, how many per month, and how many per year to keep in this old system. And I really do wish they'd still support this thing. This is the backup session over here. Here is my hard drives and all the hard drives I got loaded in. And you can see I've got some several 5s and a couple of 8s in there, and an old 2 terabyte that's still in there. And I think it tells you what my space is. I'm running low. I'm actually down to just under 3 terabytes now. I got to worry about this soon, because I don't want to run out of space. So this is my current system that I use, and I think it works just fantastic. I love this puppy. And I even have the smart setup in here where it monitors the drives. And it gives me smart data and lets me know if there's any problems on any of the drives, and it'll alert me. I also run a bit of software on here that lets me monitor. Let me stop this share here. Stop this. Run a bit of software that monitors my server. You can also put it on a NAS drive, and it will let me know the status of the drive, the system. The system has rebooted. If the system is offline, it'll send me a notification. It'll actually send me a notification for it. It'll tell me the temperature of the drives. It'll tell me the temperature of the computer, all the stats I need to know. Files are on there, but I cannot access the files. I can only see that they're there. So it's a really great piece of software, and it's free. It's actually made for system engineers or system IT people to use, and they give you a trial version with no limitations on it. That's great.
What's it called? What's?
Bear with me. I'll get you the name of it. Just give me a moment here, because I have it under my tools. And it's called Pulseway, Pulseway. And let me see if I can quickly find that. Pulseway.
Listen to my webinar. Why?
Okay, let me share this.
Why?
Hey, Ken, can you mute? Or I'll mute you. Let me share this screen so everyone can see this. And this is the product called Pulseway. I will tell you this though, it's not limited to servers. You can install this on individual PCs and have it run from there, and it'll send you the information to your phone or your phone or your tablet, whatever Wi-Fi device you want it to go to. Okay. So I have this installed on my server, but I also had it installed on 2 PCs at one time. I used to use this at work, where was at home, so I could monitor the work computers to see if they were up and running, because they were critical that they always be up and running. So this is a great little package. It's free to use. It's dedicated towards, at least it was when I tried to get it. Let's see the downloads. See if it's still available. Agent for Windows. There's a 64 and a 32-bit. So you got a desktop app and the mobile apps, This works great. I really like this. Oh, look, Raspberry Pi versions too.
Yeah,
Debian, Ubuntu,
Debian.
Debian, Ubuntu. Wow, it works on a lot of platforms, even a Mac. Oh, wow. So I do like this product. It works very well for me. And I don't know if I can show you any of the screens for it. So device management. It's got lots of good stuff that it shows you. Got drives, their size, their temperature, IP addresses. I think in the paid version, you get PowerShell and remote control, and you get more file management things. This is a great little software. I liked it. Works good for me.
What was the name of the Requiem or whatever it was called? Can you spell that one? A couple people mentioned it earlier.
Oh, Macrium Reflect?
Yeah.
That's the name. Macrium Reflect.
Macrium. M-A-C-R-I-U-M?
It is M-A-C-R-I-U-M Reflect. F-R-E-F-L-E-C-T.
Yep, had that part, just didn't have the Macrium part.
Okay. So Macrium Reflect, there's a free version and paid version. The free version, now someone can correct me on this, but I believe the free version only will let you do like an image of your drive. The paid version, you can do incremental backups and other procedures with. If someone wants to elaborate on that, like Bob or Tim, who use it more, please do.
I don't have the licensed version, but it does allow for making incremental and differential backups, restore of individual files and folders, where the free version is the whole drive image. However, you can deselect partitions you don't want to back up, and in the restore, you could deselect everything but the single partition you want to restore back in place. So for example, on a Windows system, you could back up the entire drive and only on a restore the C drive as an example. But if you take and break up your drive into a C for the operating system and programs and put all your data in a D partition, you could just restore the D partition.
Anyone else want to comment or add into doing backups? Okay, I did mention that I use SyncToys. Anyone here use SyncToys? No? Then I won't elaborate any more about SyncToys.
SyncToys,
yeah.
I dabbled in SyncToys a long time ago, but I haven't done it in recent times. They have some pretty nifty little pieces of software that can really help some people.
And it's helped me because when I'm backing up my server, I actually don't back up. I use SyncToys because then I'm looking at the individual files that have changed, and I've got so massive of folders that I need to go through that I let SyncToys handle and manage it. So I'll have my external hard drive that I plug in. I'll run a SyncToy. It's like a batch file program, and it scans and looks for changes. It can bite you in the butt if you don't have the settings correct. And it bit me in the butt last week because I didn't have the settings correct. So it can do that. But it is a Microsoft software. It was developed by a team at Microsoft. It's no longer written or supported, but it's still available from Microsoft. And I found it to be very, very valuable. I need to align files and drives that have a lot of dynamics and a lot of changes going on. So I'll run that process maybe once a month or every 6 months. It depends on the drive that I'm doing. And that would be my externals offsite or externals that I put away someplace. They're just data files for all I know. A lot of videos and photos. Anyone else? Nope. Okay, what did I say? Who was our presenter for next month?
I think you wanted me.
Yeah.
And I think I was going to do it on SSD install. Still have to figure out what I'm doing.
Tom O'Connor is going to do his laptop upgrades and experiences. That's going to be for May. And Carl he's still thinking about it. He'll let us know what he's doing in June. All right, anybody else want to make a comment? If not, we can close out our meeting for tonight. Any announcements? Nope.
You didn't mention your YouTube stuff.
Oh,
again.
well, of course. As everyone should note, and if you don't, tonight's meeting, along with most of our past Zoom meetings, have been or are being recorded, and they will get posted to the Computer Society's YouTube site. There was a link to it in your email if you need it. If you could just refer back to that. But you can also go to YouTube and look up the Chicago Computer Society, and you can find our branded channel. And all our clubs and SIGs are broken down by their respective territories. That is West Suburban, Northwest Suburban, South Suburban, and we also have our tips and tricks, and our Linux SIGs have their own playlists. So you simply pick up that playlist and you'll find the episodes in there. If you do get a chance to watch at least one that doesn't have any reference to what the topic is, and then put in the comments what the topics were, I will then update that to reflect what that video is about, because I haven't taken the time to walk through and edit each one of those things to see, or watch each one to see what they're about. Dennis did take the time, and I thank you, Dennis, very, very much. He did take the time to watch one of the videos, and he even indexed in a little spreadsheet, if you will, what the topics were, minutes that started, beginning and ending, and I posted that in the notes for that particular video. Dennis, thank you again very much for doing it. I really do appreciate that. When I saw that, I was like blown away. I was more than I expected from anybody. So if someone could just watch one video and just tell me what the topics were, I'd appreciate it. And that would be for Westside, Northwest, South Suburban clubs. The SIGs, we pretty much know what we're doing with those, but the Linux SIG, yes, my tips and tricks are all over the place. So feel free, have at it. So please do watch one video, just one, pick one. Yes, Bert.
Don't forget the meeting coming up for tips and tricks.
Yes, it'll be this coming Tuesday is our tips and tricks SIG. If you have not attended it, it's mainly an open forum style, and I send out a bunch of topics, things that we can discuss to kind of boost us or corral us in a direction. So please come and join us. Look for the links in email, and it'll be coming to you this weekend. And I've already sent out the invitation for that. So thank you, everybody, for that. Anything else anyone would like to add?
Well, I'd like to make a suggestion.
Yes.
Somebody sees a good price for the SSD, probably the range, the 200 size one. Let me know.
You know, Tom, you'll probably get a bunch of emails from me soon.
I'd appreciate it.
Because I get them, not from Micro Center. I don't get there very often, but I do get Newegg sends me every day. They send me emails on what they put on the site, what they put on sale, and if you look, I will find one from today. Let's see if it's in my books. And then I'll send you some links to the ones that they send me emails on. If not tomorrow, I'll get some new ones.
Okay.
But they're pretty cheap. Like I said, they're less than $50 for this stuff.
I'm not too worried about that. What I'm trying to think of also is what will I be putting into this? I've been watching them, but should I be putting in just text, or should I be trying to take pictures or something? I don't know what to do. So I'll think of something.
I can help you online. I can do it remotely.
There you go. Tim, do you want to send Tom, before we close this out, you want to send him your phone number or your email address or something so he can contact you?
If he put his email address in the chat, I've got a copy of the chat, so I'll have the email address and I'll send him one probably this evening.
There you go.
You've got it. It's out there.
I will say that it ain't going to happen this Saturday. Monday or Tuesday evenings are out too because of meetings. So
no problem. Whenever it's available.
Okay.
Tim is a very, very busy man. So.
No, what do you mean busy?
No. I'm giving you credit. I'm just saying he's a very busy man. So.
I haven't got a thing to do.
No, he's retired, right? Yeah.
Well, we're all retired, I think.
Yeah.
I wish I was retired.
Let's see. I'm trying to see if I can see. I want to find you a deal before I close this out today. Newegg, best deals.
I haven't seen the SSDs for a while because I get those ads too.
Right. I thought I just saw one of their house brands.
Yeah, that's the Inland brand. That's the Inland
cheap.
brand.
Yeah. And it's usually pretty cheap to find those.
Yeah, the last time I remember like a 240 available was probably around $30-$35 if you go in store. If you get it through the mail, it's a higher price plus shipping.
Oh, you're talking about from Micro Center, right?
Yes.
Okay.
They give you the cheapest price if you go in the store.
I can understand
Last August, I got a 250 gigabyte Samsung SSD for like $35.
Yeah, isn't it that they're so cheap now? It's incredible.
Yeah, no, I can understand going in the store it was much cheaper, but I don't get around. I don't drive, so I'm kind of stuck. I have to get through the mail.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, you just have to know up front that it.
You turned off your microphone.
Instead of getting it
Tim?
$240 for like say $25.
Well, anyways,
Tim, you muted yourself.
Sorry. Offhand, if you get it through the mail, which you can do, instead of getting say a $240 for $25 or something like that, maybe even a little cheaper. It might cost you up to $30 plus whatever they charge for shipping.
Yeah, I understand. Now, I would pay the extra cost just to get it to me, that's all.
Yeah, it's not bad. You should probably, if you made an order even tonight, probably by Monday or Tuesday, you'd probably have it.
Yeah, sure. You know, I'm the type of guy that's wouldn't ask for it overnight. I'd say, yeah, give me 5, 6 days, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that stuff gets shipped by postal service, and normally they can get it there in 3, no more than 4 days.
Well, the postal service is 5 to 7, but yeah.
I've done quite good. I don't even get up to 7 out of California.
Then you're lucky.
Well, then I have a hell of a lot of good luck on that.
Yeah, you do. But yeah, I'm not worried about it. When I order it, I just sit down and wait. It gets here when it gets here.
Yeah,
Gets there when
and
it gets there.
if you go out to Micro Center, Westmont store, you can also peruse through there for flash drives, and you could get a flash drive along with the SSD that you choose, and then have the 2 shipped to you at the same time.
Yes, I know what you're saying.
In other words, you can mail order it from Micro Center.
Right.
Okay. All right. Anybody else want to touch on this subject or anything else we need to discuss? If not, I'll see everybody on Tuesday.